What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. Today I figured I would do a little bit different style of video, a garage update. Haven't done one of these probably in 3 or 4 years, back when my brother and I lived together in a rental house. So fast forwarding years later, things are a lot different these days. And in the last 1 year, all of my cars have changed. A year ago today, had the R35 Nissan GT-R, the Audi RS3, and the manual MK5 Toyota Supra. As you can tell, everything's different. So we're gonna go over each of the 3 cars, the Gallardo, the RS3, the Civic Type-R, talk a little bit about what led up to each car, and then take them for a spin, of course, talk about what I like about each car, what I use them for, and then lastly, talk about what will replace each of these cars when the time comes. So this one is a 2024, finished off in the championship white. This was a used car I just picked up. And this one, what the cool feature about it, of course, is these insane bucket seats. I'm a sucker for a red interior and bucket seats. And of course, we have the 6-speed manual transmission. So what in the world led up to buying a Civic Type-R? So this car, I guess its evolution starts with my white Supra that I bought at the end of 2019. Had that car for 2 years, sold it to buy the new Nissan Z, drove some of the new Zs, didn't quite like them, and then the manual Supra got unveiled, and I bought that. About 2 years with the manual Supra, I then sold it and traded it for this Civic Type-R. Particularly the reason where my wife and I bought some land. We're gonna be building a house in the next year or so. So I wanted a cheaper car and something more practical, because owning a 2-door car alongside my favorite 2-door car ever created in the entire world just really didn't make sense, and I wasn't driving the Supra. So that is why I bought the Civic Type-R. Spent a couple weeks and I've been having a heck of a lot of fun with it. So some of the things I love about this FL5 Civic Type-R is the fact that it's a manual transmission. We got that 6-speed shifter down there. It's notchy, it's responsive to do. It is a joy. Now I'm 30 years old, so I grew up in the era to where we still idolized the manual transmissions because they were raw and engaging and significantly better performance cars than their automatic counterparts. Obviously in the last 10 to 15 years, modern automatics are amazing. They blow these things out of the water in performance, but there is something about stepping back in time, driving a stick shift. It's just a heck of a lot of fun. These seats I love, I fit like a glove in it, and the handling is nuts. This thing you can just play with so much. Sounds pretty good too, with just an air intake so far. But the handling, the go-kart like experience is something else. Now coming from the MK5 Supra, which is an amazing car, I love the car so much. I like how this car still gives me the raw, exciting engagement level of a manual sports car, but toning it down on price to obviously fund other goals we're working on, and giving me the practicality to use this as a utility vehicle when needed. We do a lot of house projects, things like that. So I can kind of use this no matter what. I don't have to only rely on a press car to do a project around the house. So that in itself has kind of been my favorite thing with this car. It's fun, and it gives me all the practicality and usability to do so much with. I haven't stopped smiling. The turning, the handling is amazing. And going in order of horsepower, we have the Audi RS3 with that unique 5-cylinder. So this is our 2024 Audi RS3. This is one of the first cars my wife and I ever ordered custom brand new. Spec'd it in turbo blue with just the RS tech package, and we love it. So evolution of this car, my wife has been an Audi fan for a very long time. We met because of the GT-R, but she's always liked Audis. Years ago when we first met, she had an Audi A3, owned that for about a year, actually bought it and sold it for what she paid, even though she put 10,000 miles on it. Years later, once we got married, kind of our wedding gift to ourselves was the Riviera Blue Audi S3. Owned that for 2 years while we waited for this. And then here we are into the RS3. Now this car, super cool, unique 5-cylinder, like I said, got the all-wheel drive and a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. The interior on this is gorgeous. You got that beautiful Napa leather with the nice honeycomb stitching, finished off in the red accents. You got carbon on the dash, all the Audi tech, a little bit of Alcantara, and some ambient lighting throughout it. This car is fast and fun, and I love how it has all the refinements you would expect in a pretty pricey Audi. What in the world is that guy doing? It's always the crappiest cars being the stupidest. What in the world? All right, so one way to start the test drive in the RS3. So this is my wife's car. She loves this thing, and honestly, I like it too. We had a little bit of a rough start in the beginning with this car just because, I don't know, we kind of like the old school feeling with the S3, but the more we've driven this, the more we have experienced what this thing has to offer. It is a really nice car. I love how refined it is. Handling is pretty good. It's a really competent car, very confident around the turns. Absolute powerhouse, especially coming from the Type-R. I mean, this makes me get reminded of how fast some cars can be. This RS3 is nuts. So this car is cool because it's crazy fast. I mean, it's seriously, it is a riot. We got the exhaust intake, lowering spring spacers. We're in performance automatic. This thing's aggressive. Gosh. And I mean, we're just still babying it. I also love how from one touch of a button, back into comfort, it's quiet, normal, no big deal. Another thing we love about this car, it has memory seating. My wife and I are like 8 inches different in height. I'm about 6 feet, she's closer to 5 feet. So one touch of a button, we can easily go between our seating positions, which is fantastic. So that's kind of really nice with this car. It's a really good split personality where she can drive it comfortably in normal, she can put it in her individual mode, which is kind of her sweet spot. It's pretty aggressive and loud, but the transmission is nice and toned down. And then I can, of course, put it in manual mode, race car mode, and just have a blast. Gosh. So insane. This is a handful sometimes. Absolute performance machine. Yeah, so this car is a true performance car. When I want fast and precision, I take this because this thing does everything you want and then some. It can go fast, it can do it very well. I mean, it is just a very high-end performance sedan, quite honestly, without going crazy in price. Oh, man. So this car is fun. It's grown on us, like I said, but you want a thrilling, precision-packed, exhilarating sedan, look no further than an RS3. This car is nuts. We love it. My wife's got one of the fastest cars around, and she loves that aspect. And yeah, there's no way she's gonna be selling this thing anytime soon. It'll be a long-term car until we grow out of it. Moving on to the highest horsepower and my favorite car for last, the 2014 Lamborghini Gallardo. Now, this car, we'll go ahead and cold start it after I talk about it just because it is crazy loud, and once I do, you're not gonna hear anything I say. So the evolution of this car really started back when I was 11 years old, and I got this model car as a Christmas gift. This exact model car I've had for nearly 20 years. But when I got that model car, I told myself I'm gonna buy a Gallardo one day, and 18 years later, before I turned 30, my wife and I flew to New York and made this thing a reality. So this 2014 LP550-2, so it is the rear-wheel drive version. 2014 was the last model year they made. All of them were produced in 2013, which means my car has the 50th anniversary badge. You can see that right there. And me being a Lambo fanboy, of course, we decked out the garage, got the 50th logo, and just some fun stuff up there just to make it feel like a Lamborghini dealership. But got these Superleggera tips and wing. This one does have an aftermarket X-pipe exhaust, and then the interior is gorgeous. Full black leather, Napa leather, and I love the red accents. Very old school car as expected. V10 sitting back here, and to me this is the childhood dream car. Love it, love the style, pretty much everything about it. This thing's just so amazing. And there it starts to tone down, but yeah, that thing will make some noise. So the Gallardo, this thing is one crazy car to drive. You got the big V10 engine. This is old school. I mean, this car came out in 2003. They made it for 10 years. It's got a single clutch transmission with the hydraulic actuation. So it is unlike anything else. There's no car I've ever driven that is like it. Even the Ferrari F430, which would be the closest car, is very soft. This car is hardcore and raw. And to me, it just gives me everything I could have wanted in a car like this. The dream car lived up to what I was hoping it would be. It is fantastic to drive. It is something that it might wear you out after you're driving it too long. It's a car that keeps you on your toes. So it's not the easiest car in the world to drive or live with, but it is such a fun experience every time behind the wheel. Nothing is like it. This car has heavy steering, heavy brakes, instant throttle response from that V10, and it sounds incredible. Super stiff suspension. Unforgiving car. It is way faster than I really thought it would be, but it's so smooth, it's so raw. It is something I honestly drive as much as I can. I don't really daily on every single circumstance. You know, if I know I'm going to be leaving the car in a parking lot for many hours, it's not a car I want to just leave in a parking lot. But going to car shows is a blast in this thing. Gosh, you hit 90 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour so quickly in it. Oh man, it is just so cool. It is my definition of a dream car. It is so aggressive. It's such a special car. It is addicting to listen to that engine. I don't really have any true complaints with this thing. I just love it. It is my kind of car. I could go on and on and on about how enjoyable it is to drive. It makes me smile. It is so fun, and honestly, when people see it, it has been nothing but thumbs ups. You know, people want to take photos, talk to me about it. So it's been a really cool car to share with others, honestly. Even at car shows, like letting little kids sit in it, check it out. I mean, I can look back 20 years ago when I was that 10-year-old dreaming of a car like this. And while it's a 10-year-old car, I love this era to where this is the sweet spot. So we'll talk about the future cars that would replace all these. But this is such a sweet spot, in my opinion, of you get the rawness, the character that you don't get in modern cars, but it's new enough to where you could actually live with this. You know, 11-hour drive from New York was a little uncomfortable, but super doable. And I've done some daily things with it, going grocery shopping even, so I've used this like a normal car. And it doesn't disappoint. This car, I do not care what gas prices are. I don't care how much it costs to fill up. Whenever it needs gas, I fill it up and I smile the whole time. It goes like 450 on a tank, so I don't really have to fill it that often, but I just don't care. I just drive this as much as I possibly can. I do not care about the mileage. I don't care. I just drive it as much as I want to, and I love every moment. All right, so after driving in the Gallardo alongside the other cars, there is my garage update, taking them for a spin. Now let's go over future plans. So like you guys may have seen when I talked about selling the Supra for the Civic Type-R, we're gonna be building a house in the next year or so. As you can tell, the only way to even get this photo is to park the Lambo on the grass. But the next house will have much larger driveway and garage, which is where I work 50% of my days. So future plans. So this is, I guess we could call it my YouTube car. Not really exactly something that I'm emotionally attached to. Won't be a long-term car. I'm going to enjoy this for at least 6 months. I'm going to have some fun the rest of this year, modifying it early next year, and then we're going to reassess building the house to see if we're going to be doing that next year or the following. And depending on what money looks like, if needed, I'll just sell this car. Now, what would replace this if I keep it a little bit longer and then directly get something else? Well, 2 cars come to mind. They're very, very different. If I end up needing more utility, the new Toyota 4Runner is what I could see replacing the Type-R in a year or 2. If I don't really need the utility and I'm ready for another performance car, the new BMW M3 Competition with the carbon seats, I could see replacing this car. So those are kind of the 2 next vehicles for that. RS3, like I said, this is going to be a long-term car. We're not going to sell it until we genuinely grow out of it and need more space. My wife loves Audis, and she's torn between 2 cars, either the Audi RS7 or the Audi RS-Q8. It's going to be one of those 2 vehicles, and that's when we just need the extra space. And that now leads us to my baby, the Lamborghini Gallardo. What in the world would I ever replace this car with, and would that ever happen? As much as this is my childhood dream car, all those good things, I'm sure at some point, maybe 5 to 10 years from now, I will be ready for something else. I love the car. It gives me everything I could ever have dreamed about when I drive it. However, like my GT-R, which was kind of the same level, just the step before this, you know, after 5.5 years, I was ready for something different. So we will see when the time comes. I highly doubt it is anytime soon. Obviously, building the next house is our big goal, and I can't afford to buy something that is twice the price of this. So that won't happen anytime soon financially, but also I love this car, so I'm not planning to sell it anytime. When the time does come, I think I've narrowed it to a Lamborghini Huracan. Now, it won't be a standard Huracan. I've driven them quite a bit. I've even been able to drive one after I bought this. I think it's a little boring, so I would not get a normal Huracan, but the Evo rear-wheel drive, I've driven one of them, and it is so cool. The Performante or the new Tecnica, I think one of those 3 Huracans would be the next best replacement because they have a lot more character and drama than a typical one, and it would be a good next step up. But as of now, a Huracan Evo rear-wheel drive, it's about 100 grand more than this. I could see that being the next car 5 to 10 years from now. So nothing soon, but that is kind of where we're at on these 3 cars. Haven't done a garage update in a while, like I said, and these are a fun batch of cars. You kind of got something different in each car. Got the old school manual affordable car with the amazing handling. You got the precision along with the insane speed with the dual clutch RS3, and then you got the old school supercar that I just absolutely love. So that is about gonna wrap up today's video, doing a nice garage update with the 3 cars that I currently own and kind of a little bit about how they came here, what I do with them, what I like about them, and what would potentially be the next car. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, doing a nice refresh look at the current fleet. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.